Okay, everyone. Well, welcome to part 2 of the Awakening Body series. Yeah, first of all, massive well done for getting here. I know it's not always easy, especially if you've got commitments and kids and things like that. So big well done for giving yourself the space and the time to be here. So yeah, how the session's going to go is I'm going to lead some bioenergetics just to help us ground and bring us back into our bodies and maybe give us a bit of energy. And then I'm going to hand over to Chris, where he'll then take over and lead the session from there. Maybe if you want to say a quick hi, Chris.
Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to today's session. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. So yeah, we're going to go through some bioenergetics. It's going to be a short workout. It's not going to be the same as last week. Last week was about 30 minutes, I believe. But this week we're going to do maybe 12, 14 minutes. Yeah, so just to kind of recap what we covered last week with bioenergetics being a body-based therapy that really peels back the layers and removes the blocks which prevent us from experiencing our authentic self, our natural self, or our true self, basically, which is covered with all of these layers, all of this conditioning. So bioenergetics is a practice which removes this, and we use, if you can remember back from last week, we use 3 components, which is a stretch. We hold the body in a specific stretch. We breathe deep in and out through the mouth. And then we feel the body. A very important element of bioenergetics is feeling the body. It's teaching us how to reconnect with our feelings, with our feeling sense, which so many of us are cut off from. And we're going to be doing the bone arch posture, which we covered last week, but as I said, it's going to be on a shorter time frame. So that being said, I think I'll demonstrate the postures again for those that wasn't here last week, or if you missed last week's session, and then we'll get into it. So the first posture, you see me all right? Yeah. First posture is the bow, classic posture in bioenergetics. Feet a bit more than shoulder width apart, outsides of the feet roughly parallel, maybe slightly pointing out, with a nice bend in the knees. Very important to have that connection to the air, bending the knees, bending the legs. And then we're going to bring the arms up and back behind the ears. My arms are really straight, and I'm pulling them back behind the ears and reaching up as high as I possibly can. This is great for really opening up the chest, really opening up the diaphragm, the pelvic floor, the throat, really opening up the entire front part of the body. But what I want to say with this posture is, if you do struggle, perhaps like maybe your lower back starts pulling, it is okay to put your hands, get your hands in this way and put them just at the top of the, just onto the waist, and kind of hold yourself up as follows. And it just gives you that extra bit of support when in this posture. And of course, like ever, we're breathing deep in and out through the mouth, really feeling the body, really feeling into our experience. But just checking it out, if you are going to transition into that posture where you put your hands on your waist, is it mental resistance? Is it emotional resistance? Or is it an actual physical ailment that needs tending to? And of course, if it's physical, then we need to look after the body. It's number one priority. But just check it out. It's really important to have this awareness whilst practicing. So bow posture, and then we're going to transition into the arch where we bring the feet slightly closer together, always keeping that bend in the legs, letting the head get heavy. Weight forward in the balls of the feet. Hands want to be 6 to 8 inches off the floor. Even if you're super flexible, maybe you practice yoga or something like that, don't go all the way down. It's not about a stretch as such. It's more about activating our emotions, our repressed emotions. And if we go all the way down into the stretch, it doesn't really do that. So keeping them hands 6 to 8 inches off the floor, the weight is forward and the tailbone is pulling up. just to give us an extra stretch. And once we're down here, we start breathing deep in and out through the mouth, feeling the body. And when we are breathing through the mouth, really filling up the belly with oxygen. It's not kind of like, it's more as follows. And we're really feeling the body. We're going to be going round on a 1.5-minute ding, so a 90-second ding. We'll go around 3 times. So 3 times with the bow posture, 3 times with the arch, and then we'll maybe finish with a bit of shaking just to integrate. So if you'd like to take your positions, guys, let's have a look at you. Good stuff. Okay, the timer's on. So let's start with the bow posture. Feet slightly more than shoulder width apart. Bringing the hands up, stretching nice and high towards the ceiling, but the arms are back behind the ears, and we're pushing the pelvis forward and the chest out. Exactly as you are, that's it. And keeping the gaze straight ahead with the eyes open, very important, not to close the eyes. Keep the eyes open. And once we've got it, breathing deep, feeling the body. Bringing that breath down into the lower part of the belly, and then fully exhaling from the mouth. Staying present every step of the way. That's it, guys. Just as you are, keeping that stretch going, opening to the world, meeting the world. When that ding comes, we're going to transition slowly into the arch posture. So there's the ding, slowly allowing them arms to come down, feet slightly closer together, head getting heavy. Bringing that weight forward, and have a little shake out with the arms, yes, no, with the head, making sure we're not holding or locking anywhere, and bringing that tailbone up. Once we've got it, start that deep belly breathing, feeling the body. Really feeling into the legs, feeling into the lower back, the shoulder blades. Anywhere that there's feeling, just put your attention there. As Chris said last week, attention is also love, giving ourselves love in this way, meeting our emotions. Slowly coming back up. Into the bow posture, bringing them feet slightly wider. Reaching nice and high. Feeling the body. And as I said, if it's really too much for the lower back, don't push it. Experiment with putting the hands on the waist. That's great, guys. Looking good. Nice deep belly breathing. Charging up the body with oxygen, allowing the emotions to come up. It's that which is keeping us stuck. If we're feeling stuck, it's repressed emotions. We clear them out and then we can finally move forward and finally be present. The sound is good. There's the ding. Transitioning into the arch posture. Shake it out with the hands, the arms, bringing that weight forward. And I invite you to just make your breath slightly audible, just a little bit of sound. So many of us are holding and locked at the throat. Bit of sound just helps that release. Checking in elements, is the weight slightly forward? Is there a bend in the legs, 6 to 8 inches off the floor with a hand? Here. And slowly coming back up. One vertebra at a time, and a smooth transition into the bow posture for the final time. Reaching them hands up so we're stretched. It's called the bow posture because it's meant to symbolize an archer's bow, in case you was wondering. Nice deep belly breathing, bringing that breath down. Might be that a bit of shaking starting to arise. That's good. That's a really good sign. Breathe into that. Feel that. Allow the body to release. The body is yearning to release all that what it's holding. The average person, we're holding quite a lot. Doing amazing, guys. Keep with it. Stick with it. Deep belly breathing. Feeling the body. There's the ding. Know what to do. And same again, if this is really getting too much for that lower back, it's okay to put the elbows on the thighs, just resting them above the knee if that feels right. But as I said, just check it out. It's all about bringing the awareness back to the body. What's going on with our body? Keeping that breath audible. The full top half of the body is just completely surrendered. It's teaching us how to surrender to intensity in difficult situations, emotions, people, whatever it may be that arises. It teaches us to stay open, to stay surrendered, our natural state. Slowly coming back up. And we're just going to finish with 2 dings of shaking, so keep them stood up. Nice bend in the knees, whatever's comfortable, and a nice vertical shake. So we're not side to side, the shake is vertical. That's it, guys, just as you are. Keeping that shake going, loose in the shoulders. The head's just bobbing along for the ride. We're not holding in the diaphragm or anywhere for that matter. We're just as loose as we possibly can be. And we're going to be going for 2 dings. And for this part, it is okay to close your eyes and start to go inward, feeling into the core of the belly. Making sure we're not holding. So continuing through that ding. Just shaking it all out, letting go of the day. It have been stressful, maybe not, but just a good shake is really good for the body. It's very primal. All animals shake. They all shake to release. All mammals, that is. It's putting us back in touch with our primal sense. It is there, our animal nature. It can sometimes help to just put the hands out a little bit towards the world, palms facing up, and sticking that pelvis forward. It can stimulate a natural shake. And if that's not the case, that's okay. Just stick with it. Okay, slowly, slowly letting that shake come to an end. And if we'd like to, in our own time, just find our way back to a seated position. Staying present in the body. Keep feeling the body, even while I'm talking, while Chrissy's going to be talking, staying present, feeling into the body. So that was the bone arch. Well done for everybody that participated. What I'll do is I'll get Chris to condense this workout and we'll send it out to you. So if you've not had time to do the full 30-minute workout that we did last week, you can always do this. And it's such a great remedy for anxiety, the bow posture, the bone arch posture. So if you are somebody that experiences anxiety, practicing this, even just doing what we've just done, 12 minutes, it can really help shift anxiety and fear blocks out of the body. So at this point, I'm going to hand you over to Chris. And as I said, keep feeling the body, staying present, and well done. Confirmed.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me okay? Good. So just allowing yourself to continue feeling the body for a few moments. And also allowing yourself to feel or sense into the stillness that is here. Because no matter what is arising within our experience, no matter how many thoughts are arising, no matter how many challenging emotions are arising, no matter what is shaking and trembling through our little human body minds, it's appearing within stillness. It's appearing to stillness. The core, the essence of what we are, is completely 100% still. Like if you were to imagine a space 1 billion miles up into space, where there were no stars, no planets, nothing anywhere, just complete stillness. We have the same stillness within us. We've been conditioned to give all of our attention towards movement. We've been conditioned to give all of our attention towards that which is loud. Thoughts, emotions, relationships, activities in the world, all of this stuff, we're continuously taught about what is loud. Every time you put the TV on, it's someone doing something, someone. And of course, TV would be a little bit boring if it was just stillness. But we're never taught to notice the stillness. We're never taught to appreciate the stillness. We're never taught to feel the stillness. Imagine if when we were 2-year-old kids at nursery school, or 3-year-old or 4-year-old kids at primary school, imagine if just one lesson a week, one of the teachers knew the stillness and told those kids to notice it. They might say something like this. Okay, guys, sit down. We'll stop playing for a few minutes. Can you just notice something really magical? This quiet sense of stillness that you can just feel. And the kids would sit there, they'd be like, oh yeah. And then the teacher might ask, okay, what's that stillness like? If you really feel into it, what is that stillness like that you can just feel? And the kids might say, it's love. The kids might say, it's happiness. The kids might say, it's joy. Because when we get onto the spiritual path, we all start searching for some big experience, a big awakening, a big enlightenment experience. We want the fireworks. We all want the fireworks. Yet if we can come to just sense this tiny little place of stillness inside, this tiny little place of quiet that we can just feel inside of our own hearts, and we appreciate that and savor that, then that experience of quiet that we can just feel inside of our own hearts, that subtle experience of quiet becomes quite wonderful, becomes all that we could ever want and all that we could ever need. and it becomes our resting place, our place of true safety, our place of true rest. Now, the reason I bring this up is because me and Alex talk a lot about emotions. We talk a lot about trauma. We talk a lot about meeting emotions, meeting feelings. And it's all wonderful. That's all wonderful stuff. It all puts you in touch with the silence in a way, actually. But it can be very useful to, as well as having practices coming into the body, which I'm going to talk about over the next half an hour, as well as having practices coming into emotions and meeting what's there and releasing feelings and releasing this energy from within us. It's very important to also start noticing that which is quiet, that which is still. Now, some of you, many of you will be able to just touch in with that. For others, it might take a little bit of time, a little bit of some other practices and techniques that you can use, which I'll probably cover at the end of this session, at least one of them. But I wanted to introduce that. I wanted to illustrate the importance of feeling the stillness, noticing the stillness, valuing that which is quiet at the same time as doing this work. Okay, so there's 3 things. I don't usually make a plan when I do these workshops, but I've made a little plan for you guys today. That first bit wasn't a plan, it just came out of nowhere. But I'm going to move on to the plan now. There's 3 things I want to talk about, 3 methods I want to talk about, 3 methods I want to talk about to help us find freedom. Because all I want is freedom, and all I want for everybody is freedom. All I care about is freedom. There was a time at Osholila with Alex, we used to live at this community, and they would put somebody at the front of the group, in front of about 50 people. You'd stand at the front and you'd sit there and you'd like, what should I say? And people would go into emotional releases. People would go into all sorts of stuff. I didn't have any idea what I was going to say. And I waited 2 days to get up at the front. I got on this seat, was looking out at the crowd. I was sitting there like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And just out of nowhere, I just stood up and went, I want freedom. Like, I want freedom. Went like a warrior, just like so strong. I so love freedom. And that's what I want for everyone. We need to be free, and we are bound by our minds. So this is about finding freedom from our minds. So let's dive into it. What stops most people from feeling free? Now, if you aren't experiencing any kind of emotions within your body and mind, say all of the emotions dissolved in your body and mind, you would be completely 100% free. I'm sure most of you know Eckhart Tolle, and I'm sure most of you know his story. He was pretty lucky in a way. Obviously, he went through hell, but just one night, without really putting that much effort in, something clicked. He recognized himself as the awareness within which his experience was arising, and his pain body energetically dissolved, just left him. And the next day he woke up a liberated being, and he's been a liberated being ever since. Now that happens to 1 in a million people on the path. The rest of us, we need to do the work. The rest of us, we need to work to clear out the emotions, and we need to work to discover the freedom beyond the mind. So, how can we use our emotions to discover this freedom? How can we use our emotions to discover what Eckhart Tolle has discovered? I made a little video about this earlier in the week. Some of you will have seen it, but I'm going to go over it again. I call this cutting the vicious cycle of emotional triggers. So I'm going to explain what an emotional trigger is. An emotional trigger is something happens in your environment. Either you hear something someone said, you read something, some sort of trigger happens, and that trigger creates emotion within you, or a thought within you. And that emotion creates thinking, or the thinking creates emotion. When the emotion creates thinking, that thinking creates more emotion, which creates more thinking, which creates more emotion. So when you're triggered, the thinking feeling goes into this vicious cycle. I'll say that again, I'll give an example. Somebody says something to you. It triggers you. You have the thought, why did they say that? The energy of that, why did they say that, creates an emotion of anger or shame or something within your body. That emotion within your body creates more thinking. I wish they hadn't said that. What did they mean? Maybe I'm an idiot, maybe whatever. That creates more emotion in the body. That creates more thinking in the mind. And this vicious cycle is created, and we get pulled into it, and we become identified with it, and we think of ourselves as this triggered person. And we lose touch with our being. We lose touch with our relaxed, natural state. We're just in this triggered one. Now, there's something really amazing that you can do when this happens. And that is the moment the first trigger comes in, the moment the first thought comes in, that is going to create emotion. As soon as you notice that you're about to be pulled into that thought, emotion made self, you bring all of your attention down away from the thinking mind and into the body. And you fully feel the feeling in the body. You catch it within your awareness. Because when you bring the whole extent of your attention down away from the thinking mind into the feelings in the body, that vicious cycle is cut. The thinking no longer moves anymore because you're no longer fueling it with your attention. The thinking needs your attention to survive. And usually when we get triggered, we give all of our attention to the thinking. The feelings are there, we can kind of feel them, but most of our attention's in the thinking this, thinking that. And because we're giving attention to it, it keeps going and going. Now, what we can do is we can reverse that process, and we can bring attention fully into the feeling and meet the feeling with our attention and hold our awareness in it. Now, I discovered this one day after years of living with panic attacks. I was on the train down to London, and I'd been pulled into panic attacks for years. I'd have a thought that I was going to lose my mind. That was my big fear. I was going to go crazy or something. I'd have that thought that I was going to lose my mind, and then I'd panic, and I'd go into all of this thinking, and I'd be panicked in this vicious cycle loop. But this time, something different happened. I was aware enough, I'd become aware enough to see I'm about to be pulled into this vicious cycle of thinking, feeling, this vicious thinking, feeling pattern. And as soon as I noticed I was going to be pulled into that, I just brought all of the attention down into the feeling of panic in my heart and in my belly, and I stayed. Now, something in me was terrified of this. The mind in me was terrified because the fearful mind wants to survive. The triggered mind wants to survive. So when you bring your awareness, when you bring your attention down into the feelings and you hold your attention in your body, the mind gets a little scared. So you need courage to do this. You have to have the courage to stay. You have to choose freedom over the mind. We have to make the choice. No, I am going to be free. I do not want to suffer anymore. And we stay with our attention fully in the feeling. Now, what happened is that feeling started to grow a little bit. It started to get bigger. And that made me think, oh no, it's getting bigger. I need to get out of it. I need to escape into thinking. And I saw myself going up into thinking again. And then I thought, hang on a sec. What if I just stay with the feeling? What would happen? And I stayed. And then a moment came where I just had this big smile on my face. And I was free. I was free. My mind was no longer pulling at me. That mind had been pulling on me, driving me crazy, beating me up for years. I'd been getting lost in these fearful mind patterns for years. And in this moment, I was free. And the other amazing thing that happened is that emotion, that panic within my body, as it grew, I felt it energetically start to open up within my nervous system and start to release from my nervous system. And then I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is brilliant. This is the best discovery I've ever made. I have a ticket out of these triggered reactions. I have a ticket out of these emotional reactions that I was continuously being pulled into. Now, if we are continuously being pulled in to triggered reactions, then we're giving up our power away to our mind. We've lost our power to our mind. We are being controlled by a thinking made self inside of our heads that is just cut loose. It's based on conditioning. It's based on what our parents thought. It's based on what their parents thought. And we're living from and as that. This is one way in which you can come out of that. And the amazing thing that happens when you manage to do this, when you cut that vicious cycle, come into your body and meet the feelings, you come into a deep state of presence. Because you're staying with the feelings, and because you need so much presence in order to, and so much, you need to give so much attention to your body in order to not be pulled into the suffering. Your awareness grows, your presence grows, your consciousness expands. It becomes brighter. And also your energetic system starts to really open up. So I hope that's made sense. That's just one method, and there's a few different ways of talking about this. Now, if you're somebody who's triggered a lot, and not everybody will be triggered loads, everyone will be a bit probably. But if you're somebody who has it a lot, you've got an amazing opportunity here. You've got an amazing opportunity to awaken out of identification with the thinking mind. And the feelings are the doorway into that. The feelings are the doorway to that. So like I said, I've got 3 different little things that I want to talk about today. Before that, before I move on to the next one, I'm just going to give a little bit of guidance. So everybody feel your feet on the ground or your buttocks on the chair, if your feet are touching the ground. And really allow your energy to flow downwards. You might ask, how do I do this? How do I allow my energy to flow downwards? Just the simple intention of having your energy flow downwards is all you need. In doing that and having that intention, your energy starts to flow downwards, flow downwards, flow downwards. And allow your energy to go into the earth. Allow your awareness just to touch in with the earth, to taste the dirt underneath the ground. Of course, you can't really taste it, but you can place your attention within it. You can place your awareness with it. And now what I want you to do is place your hands up so they're facing the ceiling. We did this last week. And place the hands back down on the lap. and allow your attention to flow into your hands. How magical is this that our energy can just flow into our hands. We're all these energy people. We just don't, we don't think about it. We don't realize. By placing your attention within your hands, energy flows there. And I'll ask you, you don't need to answer, but what can you feel there? It might be just a slight sense of tingling. Might be heat. Can you feel your hands from within, from the inside out? And notice how when I say this, when I simply, in a couple of minutes, just ask you to gently place your attention within your hands, gently rest your attention within your hands become more vivid within your awareness. Before I started talking about the hands, they probably weren't as vivid within your awareness. But now I'm talking about the hands. You can feel them. You might even describe it as an inner energy within the hands. You don't need to think about your hands to move attention there. You just move attention there. If I say, place your attention in your feet, boom, your attention goes to your feet. It's very easy to move attention. It's very simple to move attention. Now, the hands and feet don't hold that much emotion, so they're quite easy to feel. So if you are feeling emotion, and you don't have to be feeling anything, but if there are any places in your body that are tense or tight, in the same way that you place your attention in your hands and feet, can you just place your attention in that emotion? Feel it from within, feel it at its core. All the mind is, all the thinking mind is an escape from feeling. The whole thinking mind, the conditioned thinking mind, the one that goes round in a loop, the one that can cause you suffering, all of that is an escape from feeling. So now, all I'm inviting you to do is feel your body. If there's feelings there, you can feel the feelings. If there's not, you just feel into your body. Whatever you can feel is okay. Whatever your experience is perfect. You cannot get this wrong. And now I'll invite you to feel every cell within your body. Have the intention to feel every cell within your body, your hands, your feet, your legs, your arms, your belly, your chest. If there's tension or tightness, you include it. If there's emotion, you include it. You fully feel your feelings. You fully feel the bones. You feel into the cells. You feel into the inner energy within the body. You just bring your attention into it. You let it come closer to you. The body has become like a lost child, like a child that's lost its mother. A child that's lost its mother in the supermarket for 2 hours, and it's crying and it's scared and it feels awful. And all it needs is its mother's love. And all our bodies need are our love. And when we touch back in with our bodies in this way, we are welcoming them back into love. They have been disowned unintentionally. We had no choice. When we were children, we had to escape our feelings. It was too overwhelming for us. So we escaped into dreams in the mind. And we escaped into distraction. And we escaped into addiction. And when we got to school, this just carried on. School is a pretty intense place, especially for sensitive beings, which many of us are. Going to school, Jesus, that brings a lot of stuff up in the body. We couldn't feel all of that, especially if we feel other people's feelings as well. If we're empathetic, what could we do? What could we do? We had to be up in the mind. We couldn't feel all of that. But now we can. Now we have boundaries. Now we're adults and we can feel our feelings, and we must. And our bodies are so craving it, and the world is so craving this. This is one way in which love can enter the world. We are love. Again, this can sound cheesy, but it's true. What we really are is love. Our being is love. It's unconditional love. One of the ways in which you can discover and feel and know this unconditional love, this unconditionally loving presence within your own experience, one very simple way in which you can discover this is by having the willingness to feel your feelings and allowing these feelings to come up into your awareness without being pulled into the negative stream of thinking. And it's not necessarily going to come like a bang. And this unconditionally loving presence, oh my God, while you're drooling and just having this big spiritual experience. It might. I hope that for all of you is brilliant. Yeah, let's do that. But likelihood is it's gradual. And I was feeling my feelings. I was doing this work for a couple of years probably. And I was just becoming more and more free, more and more happy. I was like, yes, I'm feeling my feelings. This was my path, coming down into the body, not being pulled into the mind. And then one day I noticed, oh yeah, there's this love here. There's this loving presence here that's just holding my body. And the whole time I thought that I was this person feeling my feelings, which I was, that's true as well. At the same time, this love was coming into me. This love was coming into me and returning me back home and putting me in touch with the qualities of my own being. And I'm still very much on this journey. Still very much on this journey. It's quite wonderful. It's quite amazing. It's quite beautiful. So I've written another little thing down that I do want to cover before the end. And I've just written down loving yourself. I've already kind of started on that one, but there's a little bit more I can say about it. You hear a lot about loving yourself in New Age spirituality, in psychology, in all of this self-help work. We hear a lot about loving ourselves. And loving yourself isn't something that you do with your thinking. I remember at one stage I thought, okay, I'm loving myself because I'm saying in my mind, I love you, Chris. You're a swell guy. Even though inside my feelings were like, no, I'm a dick. No, I'm a horrible person. I was trying to counteract it with nice thoughts. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with affirmations. They're beautiful. And I do teach affirmations as well. But the loving yourself I'm talking about here isn't to do with affirmations. It's not to do with the mind. It's got nothing at all to do with thinking. It's about bringing attention, bringing awareness into the body. It's about meeting the body directly, like an adult, like a really unconditionally loving parent does for their child. There are 3 things a child needs to feel loved. There are 3 things a child needs to heal if they're going through something difficult. There's probably more than 3, but there's 3 main ones. The first one, and this is very useful if you're just starting to get into this work and you're still kind of in the mind place, the mind is still needing something to do. This one can be useful. And this is speech. The parent uses their words, the voice becomes softer, the voice becomes kinder. The child is crying, they come up to the parent doesn't just go, just chill out, stop crying, what are you doing? That doesn't help the child. That doesn't soothe the child's nervous system. No, when the child comes to the parent, and the parent needs to soothe the child, they pick them up, they hold them close, and they speak sweetly to them. It's okay. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. Now, as I've mentioned, I experienced a few traumatic things in my life, and in my early 20s, I was in a bit of a state, a bit of a psychological state, a lot of challenge, a lot of difficulty, a lot of fear. And one thing that really helped me was when I was in this fear, when I was in these difficult psychological states, I grabbed hold of my own hand like this, held it tight, and said, I've got you, I've got you, I've got you. And sometimes that would allow tears to flow from my eyes. And I would cry as I was holding myself, saying, I've got you, I've got you, I've got you. Because the child in me needed that fatherly energy or motherly, strong energy of, I've got you. The other thing the child needs to hear, the other thing our bodies need to hear is, it's okay. It's okay. So we can all try this now. I'm going to invite you to feel into your heart center, to feel into your heart chakra. It's the center of the chest. You may feel a pinch of tightness or tension there. You may not. But whatever you feel, you just place your attention in your chest, in your heart center, or anywhere else you might feel tension, and you just speak to it. You say, it's okay. You speak to the body. You aim the words of the body in a loving way. In your mind, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. When the feelings hear that, when the body hears that, the feelings feel accepted within you. Sometimes all you need, if you're feeling emotional, if you've got something really hard going on, is to someone to hold you and go, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then they can let go, release, cry, shake, whatever they need to do. So we can say this to ourselves, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And the final one I'm going to say, and you come up with your own, come up with whatever your body needs to hear. You use your intuition to feel into what your body really needs to hear. But another great one, which most bodies probably want to hear, is I love you. You just speak it to your body. You feel into your body with your attention. You fill your body with your attention and you speak into it. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. It's okay. I've got you. I love you. You are safe. So the speech. The other thing that the child needs, the other thing that our bodies need, is touch. Of course, when the child is scared, when the child is going through difficult emotions, the parent holds the child. And we can hold ourselves. You can take hold of your hand if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling ashamed. You can place a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, and you just use touch in the same way that you would, if you were a parent, you would touch your child that's scared. Or if you have a pet, imagine if your pet escaped for a couple of days and you didn't know where it had been, and it got back, and all its hair was weird, and it looked like it had been through loads of difficult stuff, and it was kind of more shy than it usually is, and scared and shaking a bit. My God, how much love would come out of you towards that pet? How much love is within you that could come out towards that pet? And this love that is within you that can come out towards the pet can come out towards your own body. It can flow into your own body. It is love that heals. It is only love that heals. Techniques can be good. Techniques can be good, but all techniques eventually open you to love, and it's the love that heals. And the final one, which we've covered, which in a way is the most important, is attention. If the child comes up to the parent and the parent picks the child up, speaks sweet words to them, touches them, but they're also on their phone, yeah, it's all right. Good stuff. You'll be all right. Flicking through Instagram, flicking through Facebook. The child feels that. The child feels the parent's attention isn't with them. It needs the attention. It needs the full attention. Even if the adult is in there thinking about work, the child feels that. The child knows that. The child knows when you're not really there. So you come out of your thinking. And you come out of your thinking by feeling the body, because when you feel your body, remember, when you bring attention away from the thinking mind, you're no longer fueling it. It is attention which fuels the thinking. Attention gives fuel to the thinking. So when you withdraw attention and place it in the body, you withdraw the fuel. The thinking settles down and you're in your body. And coming into your body, meeting the feelings, meeting yourself with love, naturally, without you trying to do anything to make it happen, puts you in touch with a deeper sense of your own beingness. Puts you in touch with something within you which can never be harmed. In touch with something within you which can never die. This silent stillness. This silent stillness. Just going to check the time. Okay, so I'm feeling a natural pause. I'm feeling to just sit for 1 minute. And everybody, we're in our own spaces, but there is a connection here. Might sound a bit spiritual, but there is a connection here. We're all connected. There's a field of presence here between us all. We're all held within this field of loving presence, and we help each other by sitting in it together. So we'll take a moment. Mm. How wonderful. To be quiet together. Okay. So I'll just say one more thing before we move on to questions. It's another important point. We need a few things to heal, to awaken, to find freedom. We need a couple of things: space and love. We've covered love today. It's also important to give ourselves space. My teacher, Ananta, I've got an amazing teacher called Ananta. She says that space is all you need. And in Zen Buddhism, their main practice is just sit. Stare at a wall, just sit. Because the thinking mind and the emotional nature, most of us are identified with it. We're entwined within it. We're caught within it. We're very close to it. It's being fueled by our identification. It's being fueled by our attention. Yet when you just sit and for some time each day away from distractions, away from phones, away from anything, as much time as you can, give yourself to just sit in space. Naturally, the body wants to unwind, the body mind wants to unwind. The reason it drives us crazy if we sit in meditation, the reason the emotions and thoughts can drive us crazy, and there's so much, is because it wants to be liberated. One of the ways in which the feelings want to be liberated, they want to open up out into this space. One of the ways it tries to do it is through thinking, but it doesn't help that. Often we just get caught in it. So to give yourself space and feel the body every day, allowing the mind and the emotional nature to unwind within the space that you are, the space that surrounds the body, the space that the mind is arising within. You can ask yourself the question, what is it that this mind is arising within? What is it that this mind is arising within? There's thoughts happening. What are they happening within? I'll leave it there. There's more to explore with that. I probably need to do a whole session on that, really. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for your presence. Thank you for being here. We haven't finished yet. I'm going to just invite Alex to, I'm just wondering, Alex, whether you had anything come up for you that you wanted to share so far, that you wanted to speak on. And you don't need to if nothing came, it's all good.
I found it a very interesting exercise with the hands and the feet, really feeling into the hands, the attention goes there pretty much straight away. And as you said, Chris, the hands are kind of free from emotion, from repressed feelings. But the rest of the body, we tend to store a lot of repressed feelings, the chest, the back, the legs. So this feeling, which we can pretty much, all of us can feel in our hands, is actually the experience of the body to be embodied fully is to have that aliveness, what we feel in our hands throughout our entire system. And for the average person, that's not really the case. We're not really feeling the aliveness. You know, maybe some people are, but I'd say for the average person that we are shut off from this primal, innate aliveness. And this aliveness is real intelligence and creativity and love and compassion, to be in touch with that. And then it got me thinking about bioenergetics being a real training in this type of work. What you explored, Chris, I think bioenergetics touches on, minus the words and speaking to ourselves and comforting ourselves with words. Bioenergetics is a real training in coming away from the mind. So when I'm leading these sessions and I'm saying, feel the body, every time we breathe deep and feel our body is one step closer back to this aliveness, to this state of spiritual embodiment. So really cannot emphasize feeling the body enough. And practicing bioenergetics, practicing just sitting and feeling is all that's needed, actually. It's not, it doesn't have to be difficult. It's very simple, but I think you've said before, Chris, that maybe at the start of the session, that the mind makes it complicated. The mind gets involved. But just simply feeling the body, do not overlook it. Do not overlook feeling into the hands, feeling into the feet, feeling into the pelvis, feeling into the belly. And once we get that feeling, then the thoughts just naturally subside. Just thought then, actually, there's a, I don't know what it's called, like a diagram where there's 3 circles. So 3 circles, and they're all within each other. So circle 1, inside that circle, circle 2, and then inside that circle, circle 3. And the outside circle is the thinking mind. It's our egoic mind. So that's Alex, basically. And then the second circle is feeling. So it's the body's feelings. And then the third circle is our being, or love, or this aliveness, what we felt in our hands. And practicing in this way, we are working directly with the feelings. And when we meet the feelings, they free up and our awareness expands more into the middle circle, which is beingness, the aliveness. And then the thoughts start to subside. Yeah, that's what come up for me.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, mate. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on to questions. I just want to let you guys know, for those who weren't here last week, we've got a 10-week journey coming up. We've got 1 more week left of this one, and then we have a 10-week journey where we're combining bioenergetics, Alex's bioenergetics classes, with my embodiment awareness practices and lessons and everything to come into the body and to free up into the space of awareness beyond the mind, into the essence of what we are. We're combining them both because bioenergetics is so good at getting into the deep tissues and fascia. Like, these emotions are held in the physical body. And I didn't have a practice to open up the body for years until I met Alex, and he taught me bioenergetics, and it really helps to just open up the body. So we're combining both, and when the emotions open up, to then meet them with love, to learn to meet them with love and clarity and compassion. It's a very good combination. So we have a 10-week journey starting in 2 weeks, I believe. So you're all invited to join that, and we'll send information out tomorrow about that. Is there anything you'd like to add, Alex, before we move on to questions?
Yeah, I think with this journey with the body and practicing bioenergetics, it really doesn't need to take a long time. It can be quite rapid. We can see change very quickly. When we start to free up and open up the muscles, our life can become quite intense. But if we have the tools and the know-how how to meet that which is arising, then change can happen very rapidly and spontaneously. And in many ways, the emotions want to leave. The body wants the emotions to leave. It's not like the body is really trying to hold on. It's the mind what's trying to hold on because it doesn't want to experience these feelings. It thinks it's going to go crazy. It thinks it's going to die, whatever else. But once we start to really work on an emotional level, then things can change quite rapidly. Yeah, I just felt to share that because it can be quite daunting. I don't know, for me, sometimes it can be quite daunting when we talk about this expansion, awareness, coming into our natural self. It's all like the mind likes to strategize and, figure out, well, what's that going to take and how or whatever. But we're working below the thinking mind. We're working at a different level. We are totally disregarding it and working with the feelings. So just bear that in mind. And I really encourage you to go for it with the practice. I know some of you have been practicing and I've had some really good feedback, reduction in anxiety, better sleep, more relaxed. So it's great to hear. So if anyone else feels like sharing, emailing us, we're here to support you. So take advantage of it. We love to support you. Yeah.
And I'll just say one more thing before questions. It's about experience. These sessions and the course and everything. It's about coming into the experience. We want to give you the taste of what it means to be in the body, the taste of what it means to meet emotions. Because you can read about a million different things. You could be reading about spirituality for 30 years. You can read about embodiment for 30 years and think it's a great idea. But we want you to have the experience, to come into the experience in the sessions, even if it's just a little bit. You can just taste, just resonate a little bit, taste a little bit. And that's the doorway. You're going in the right direction. And that little bit that you just taste just grows over time. Hello, guys. So thank you for listening to that workshop. We really enjoyed making it. It was last night that we did it. I just want to let you know, if you want to listen to the Q&A, there is a Q&A, and you can follow the link in the description to listen to that. It's a 20-minute Q&A. Also, if you are interested in the 10-week journey back to the body with myself and Alex, then I'll also post a link there and you can see the information page. You can see what all of that is about. So yeah, hopefully see some of you there. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that workshop. And we have another one next week, Thursday, the something of February. I can't remember. At 6 o'clock UK time. So yeah, hopefully see some of you there as well. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.